Watch. In the previous episode, we established that the desert takes people according to a single, repeating pattern. Now, that same pattern emerges again, this time with an entire family. December of 2016. The Polish family Trusinski. Their Mitsubishi Pajero was discovered 25 kilometers off the highway. The fuel tank was empty. It looked as though they became lost, but once again, the backpacks and water supplies were missing. Tracks of 4 people walking in formation led away from the vehicle, but those tracks vanished at the same kind of rocky surface as in other cases. Just hours after their disappearance, a powerful sandstorm swept across the area, erasing everything. It is too many coincidences to dismiss. First, a false turn, then the fuel runs out, the trail breaks off, and finally, a storm that wipes away the evidence. Was this a series of tragic mistakes or an almost perfect trap? If the desert simply kills, why does it conceal its victims so methodically? And how many more such traps wait for those who dare to enter? Disappearances of entire families or groups in the Australian outback form a special category of cases, presenting extraordinary challenges for both search and rescue operations and criminal investigations. Statistical analysis shows that group vanishings account for 12% of all disappearances in the outback, yet they consume a disproportionately large share of media attention and investigative resources. Psychological research on group dynamics in survival scenarios shows that families and groups of friends may take greater risks because of a false sense of safety in numbers. The phenomenon of groupthink can push even experienced members to follow bad decisions that increase their chances of disaster. Children within a family group add unique survival challenges. They require more water, food, and frequent rest, constraints that can prove fatal when time and resources are already scarce. In theory, groups should be easier to locate, more footprints, more traces. Yet paradoxically, many group disappearances remain unsolved. On December 23, 2016, the Trusinski family vanished. Krzysztof and Anna, aged 38 and 36, with their children Pavel, 14, and Zofia, 11, disappeared during their holiday trip in Central Australia. They had flown into Sydney on December 20th for a 3-week tour of the continent. Krzysztof was an engineer from Warsaw with experience camping in the European mountains, but he was unfamiliar with the deadly realities of the Australian desert. The family rented a 4-wheel drive Mitsubishi Pajero, planning a long road trip from Sydney to Uluru, passing through Adelaide and Alice Springs. The route stretched more than 2,000 kilometers. Their last confirmed stop was December 22nd at a gas station in Port Augusta, where they purchased fuel, water, and food. Staff remembered them clearly because of the language barrier and their need for help with directions. The children appeared excited and happy about the journey. They never showed up at their booked hotel in Alice Springs on December 24th. On the 26th, the hotel reported their absence to police. On December 29th, their Pajero was found along a dirt track 25 kilometers from the Stewart Highway. The vehicle was in working condition, but almost buried in sand from the storm that had swept the area on December 24th. Inside the car were their suitcases, clothes, camera, and guidebooks. But missing were the backpacks, water containers, and basic survival equipment. GPS data showed the family had turned off the main highway, likely in search of a scenic route marked on their tourist map. The fuel tank was nearly empty, suggesting they had driven in circles, attempting to find their way back. Forensic teams traced the family's footprints heading northeast toward distant hills. At first, their tracks were clear in the sand, parents on the outside, children walking between them. 1.5 kilometers from the car, searchers found children's toys and an abandoned water bottle, proof that the family tried to reduce their load. The tracks ended abruptly at rocky ground, impossible to hold an imprint. Rescue dogs lost the scent at that same location. On the day of the disappearance, the temperature reached 47 degrees Celsius, with air humidity below 5%. Conditions were lethal. No signs of a shelter, fire, or survival attempts were found within the search radius. Beginning December 30th, the search expanded into one of the largest in the history of the outback. More than 200 ground personnel, 8 helicopters with thermal imaging, 4 surveillance aircraft, radar teams, drones, and specialized search dogs scoured an area of over 1,200 square kilometers. Despite cutting-edge technology and relentless effort, the family was never found. Investigators considered multiple scenarios. The most likely, the family became lost, ran out of fuel, and perished from dehydration while walking towards safety. Another possibility, they fell into one of the region's hidden caves or crevices, concealed forever by the storm. A criminal act was not ruled out, but the lack of evidence or witnesses made it far less likely. Psychological theories suggested family loyalty and a misplaced sense of leadership may have driven all 4 to follow the same fatal path. Then, years later, in June of 2019, another disappearance struck. The McPherson family from Canada. Robert, age 52. His wife Susan, 48. Their teenage son Brandon, 16. All vanished in the wild landscapes of Western Australia. Every Australian state maintains specialized units trained to operate in extreme conditions. The State Emergency Service provides additional resources, including helicopters, advanced equipment, and trained personnel. Volunteer organizations such as the State Rescue Service play a critical role, offering local knowledge and manpower. Military resources, including the Royal Australian Air Force, can be deployed during large-scale operations when civilian capacity is exhausted. Private companies, especially those in the mining sector, often provide helicopters, vehicles, and expertise for remote search efforts. Modern search and rescue operations in the outback rely on a wide range of technologies, each with benefits and limitations in the harsh desert environment. Global positioning satellite systems are standard tools for navigation and coordination. Yet accuracy may decline in deep canyons or areas rich in mineral deposits. Thermal imaging cameras mounted on helicopters and drones can detect the heat signatures of survivors. But in the extreme heat of the outback, false signals and low contrast often interfere. Radio communication remains the primary method of coordination. However, rugged terrain and atmospheric conditions create dead zones across vast distances. Drones are invaluable for covering hard-to-reach areas, though their flight time is limited and batteries fail more quickly in scorching temperatures. Ground-penetrating radar helps in locating buried remains, but loses effectiveness in sandy or highly mineralized soil. Satellite communications allow connectivity where no ground infrastructure exists, but high cost and limited bandwidth restrict their use to critical operations. Despite modern technology, search dogs remain among the most effective tools. Australia maintains a nationwide network of certified rescue dogs trained for diverse climates and terrains. Air-scent dogs can detect human odor from several kilometers under the right wind. Tracking dogs follow specific scent trails left days earlier. Cadaver dogs locate decomposing remains and can detect bodies buried up to 3 meters underground. Specialized water dogs search lakes and rivers, but the outback pushes even these animals to their limits. Extreme heat can burn their paw pads, cause dehydration, and lead to exhaustion. The cost of rescues in the outback varies dramatically. A basic operation involving police and volunteers can range from $10,000 to $50,000 Australian dollars per day. Adding helicopters raises that figure to between $200,000 and $500,000 per day, depending on type and number of aircraft. Operations involving military aviation or international experts can reach more than $1 million per day. The most expensive in outback history cost $7.5 million, ran for 32 days, and required over 300 specialists. Funding comes from government budgets, insurance payouts, and private donations. Extended operations put heavy strain on local finances. Yet beyond humanitarian motives, these expenses also protect Australia's reputation as a safe tourist destination. Search operations create immense psychological pressure. Families endure weeks or even months of pure uncertainty. Rescue teams face constant time pressure. Knowing every hour reduces the chance of survival. Repeated failures to find evidence demoralize the crews. Grueling heat, long isolation, and physical exhaustion all add to the strain. Finding bodies instead of survivors can scar rescuers, sometimes leading to post-traumatic stress disorder. Psychological support programs provide training, counseling during operations, and post-mission rehabilitation. The enormity of outback searches often requires international cooperation. Australia maintains mutual aid agreements with New Zealand, the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom, allowing the exchange of specialized resources and expertise. Desert survival experts from Israel, the United States, and other nations are frequently brought in. Technology firms contribute experimental equipment for field testing. International rescue associations set standards and share best practices. Diplomatic channels handle cases involving foreign citizens when special tools or permissions are required. Scientific institutes across the globe also collaborate, developing new methods and technologies for extreme search conditions. Search methods have evolved drastically over the past 40 years. In the 1980s, ground teams relied mostly on traditional navigation and limited aircraft support. In the 1990s, GPS and better communications improved accuracy and coordination. The 2000s saw the rise of thermal imaging, satellite communications, and the first drones. Today's searches utilize artificial intelligence to analyze satellite images, machine learning to predict potential movement paths, and automated coordination systems. The future promises ground-based robots, advanced sensors for locating human remains, and even quantum communication systems. Integration of different technologies into unified command networks makes resource deployment more effective and allows search teams to base decisions on real-time data. But in the Australian outback, the natural dangers themselves often conceal the dead. The body may vanish within days. Dehydration remains the leading cause of death. In extreme heat, a human can lose up to 10 liters of fluid in a single day. Without water, death usually comes within 3 to 5 days. Heat stroke strikes when the body's core temperature rises above 42 degrees Celsius, bringing confusion, hallucinations, seizures, and coma. Without immediate cooling, death occurs within hours. At the other extreme, hypothermia can develop during cold desert nights when the temperature drops to 0 degrees Celsius, especially in a dehydrated and exhausted body. Third-degree sunburn can develop after just hours of intense ultraviolet exposure. Such burns lead to severe fluid and electrolyte loss, worsening dehydration. Cardiovascular complications, including heart attack and stroke, may be triggered by extreme heat, heavy exertion, and dehydration. Acute kidney failure often follows, sometimes bringing death within days. The Australian outback is also home to dangerous wildlife. Deadly snakes include the inland taipan, the king brown, and the mulga. Without an immediate dose of antivenom, these bites are often fatal. Every year, about 50 snake bites are reported in remote regions. Spiders such as the funnel web and the redback pose less risk, yet their venom can seriously harm children and the elderly. Crocodiles patrol the northern waterways. Saltwater crocodiles are capable of swallowing a human whole, erasing nearly all trace of the victim. Dingoes usually avoid humans, but hungry packs have attacked lone travelers. Children have been among their victims in recorded incidents. Wild buffalo and feral pigs may charge unexpectedly, causing severe injuries or even death. Even insects, bees, wasps, ants, sometimes prove deadly, causing fatal allergic reactions. The land itself holds unseen dangers. Natural caves and sinkholes stretch across much of the continent. Many have narrow, hidden entrances and plunge hundreds of meters deep. Abandoned mines from earlier centuries remain unmarked, covered by brush, waiting as silent traps. Limestone karst formations collapse without warning, swallowing the unwary in sudden sinkholes. Shifting dunes can bury entire bodies in days, erasing any trace. Canyon edges break away without warning, and a single fall means instant death. Underground rivers and hidden whirlpools can drag a person beneath the earth. Most disappearances can be explained by nature, yet criminal elements cannot be ruled out. Serial killers have used the outback as their killing ground. The infamous crimes of Ivan Milat showed how remote Australia can hide both murder and graves. Some theories suggest organized crime and human trafficking exploit the vastness of the desert. Tourists and migrants have no defenses if targeted. Victims may be robbed, killed, or even smuggled across borders. Isolated travelers, especially women, risk sexual assault and murder. The drug trade uses the outback to move contraband, eliminating witnesses when necessary. Psychology provides another dimension. The heat, the emptiness, the pressure of survival, these can shatter the human mind. Hallucinations drive some to chase mirages. Panic causes others to abandon shelter and walk into the wasteland. Depression and hopelessness lead some to suicide. In strange cases, individuals even develop a reverse Stockholm syndrome, identifying with the desert itself, refusing to return to civilization. Severe psychosis under stress can cut a person off completely from reality. Some researchers propose exotic theories. Magnetic anomalies in the outback have been said to disrupt navigation equipment and perhaps human consciousness itself. Gravitational distortions may alter perception of time and space. Some claim that shifts in geology trigger brief time slips, transporting people or swallowing them in another moment, never to return. Plasma phenomena in the skies above may create powerful electromagnetic fields, disturbing both equipment and the human body. And then there are the most extreme speculations: interdimensional portals, UFOs, alien abductions. Australia's own UFO Society holds more than 2,000 reports of sightings over the outback from the past 50 years. Statistical analysis shows that nearly a quarter of outback disappearances happen in areas where sightings occurred within 6 months. Witnesses have claimed to see strange lights in the sky on the very nights people went missing. Scientific research continues. The Australian National University maintains a detailed database of all disappearances, studying geography, geology, weather, and social factors. The Geological Survey maps underground hazards. The Meteorological Bureau tracks extreme climate events. Criminologists examine human behavior under crisis. Medical researchers define the physical limits of survival. Technology is advancing. Artificial intelligence now analyzes disappearance patterns. Machine learning predicts movement routes. High-resolution satellite images update daily, scoured by algorithms for traces of human presence. Experimental quantum sensors may soon read underground anomalies with unmatched accuracy. Robotic ground units are beginning to patrol areas too dangerous for humans. Biometric monitoring through wearable devices may one day allow real-time tracking of vital signs, even from orbit. But for all this progress, the outback remains undefeated. Year after year, family after family, its desert silence swallows lives. The land resists explanation and holds tightly to its dead. Global positioning satellite systems have become essential tools for navigation and rescue, but in the outback, they face serious limitations. Accuracy drops in canyons where satellites are hidden from view. In critical situations, errors can measure dozens of meters. Ionospheric disturbances above Australia, especially during solar storms, can disrupt satellite function for hours or even days. Local magnetic anomalies linked to iron-rich geology may distort GPS readings, rendering navigation unreliable. Emergency beacons, such as EPIRBs and personal locator beacons, depend on satellite connections, which may fail in extreme weather. Batteries drain quickly in the brutal heat of the outback, often leaving travelers without navigation when they need it most. Coverage itself is uneven across remote areas, creating dead zones where emergency signals cannot be sent. Drones have revolutionized search and rescue, yet they too meet resistance in the desert. Autonomous drones can cover vast distances without risking human pilots, equipped with thermal cameras that can detect a person's heat signature from hundreds of meters above, even in low visibility. Artificial intelligence can scan video feeds in real time, flagging shapes and traces that resemble people or belongings. Swarm systems allow multiple drones to cover several square kilometers at once, coordinating through autonomous algorithms. Yet the challenges remain. In extreme heat, batteries fail quickly, electronics break down, and heavy winds can ground lightweight craft. Thermal imaging is one of the most promising tools, but the desert works against it. Modern sensors can detect temperature differences of less than 1 degree Celsius, in theory allowing people to be found even in intense heat. New multispectral infrared sensors distinguish between biological and non-biological heat sources. Computer vision highlights human-like thermal signatures automatically. But when ambient temperatures near human body heat, contrast collapses. Sun-baked rocks, metal debris, and even vegetation can produce false positives, tricking operators. Heat distortions create shimmering mirages that can conceal genuine sources. Mobile technologies have opened new strategies for prevention and public involvement. Emergency alert apps transmit GPS coordinates when activated, sending vital information directly to rescue agencies. Fall detection systems, based on smartphone accelerometers, auto-send distress signals after accidents. Crowdsourcing platforms enlist thousands of volunteers to scan satellite imagery for signs of missing people or vehicles. Social media spreads alerts instantly and coordinates volunteer search efforts. But limits persist. Mobile service is absent across much of the outback, making many of these applications useless in the very moments when they are most needed. Smartphone batteries also drain rapidly in heat, especially when GPS and data are running continuously. Artificial intelligence now offers new methods for prediction. Machine learning analyzes decades of disappearance records, linking geography, climate, and demographics into hidden patterns. Predictive models combine weather, tourism, and seasonal flows to estimate disappearance risks by region. Natural language processing combs through social media, eyewitness accounts, and reports, identifying valuable leads. Computer vision inspects tens of thousands of hours of drone and surveillance footage, searching automatically for human traces. Decision support systems help coordinators assign resources to the most probable areas. But even here, the challenge remains. These methods require enormous amounts of quality data, something rarely available for events as rare, unpredictable, and fragmented as human disappearances. Emerging quantum technologies promise even greater change in the decades ahead. Sensors probing the ground with unprecedented precision, communications immune to interference, and systems capable of reshaping the future of survival itself. Quantum sensors may one day detect underground voids or hidden burials by measuring gravitational anomalies with centimeter-level precision. Quantum communication promises absolutely secure links between rescue teams, immune to interference or interception. Quantum computers could process immense data sets, mapping terrain, climate, and human movement to produce predictive survival models. Quantum radar may be able to see beneath dense vegetation or even under the ground, revealing objects with unheard-of clarity. But these technologies remain experimental. Decades of research may pass before they function reliably in the field. Their complexity and cost make routine use unlikely in the near future. Biotechnology and genetics, however, already provide breakthroughs for identifying remains. Advances in degraded DNA analysis can confirm identity even decades after death in extreme conditions. Portable DNA analyzers can now deliver results in hours rather than weeks. Isotopic analysis of teeth and bones can reveal birthplace and diet. Soil microbiome samples can detect the bacterial traces of human presence. Family-based genetic databases are expanding, creating stronger chances of identifying the missing. Yet DNA still degrades rapidly in the desert's heat and ultraviolet radiation. The future of search and rescue lies in integration. Networks of sensors, drones, and cameras link through the Internet of Things. Ground robots coordinate with aerial drones to provide continuous coverage. Augmented reality overlays maps and historical disappearance data into rescuers' field of vision. Blockchain secures mission data between agencies. Digital twins, virtual models of desert terrain, build simulations of disappearance scenarios to optimize strategy. Integrated management systems control all aspects of search, from planning to execution, in real time. Still, the outback imposes limits no technology can break. Physics dictates the range of communication, the sensitivity of sensors, the lifespan of energy systems. Vast distances demand exponential resources for even partial coverage. The newest machines will always remain expensive and rare. Human judgment, intuition, experience, decision-making under stress cannot be replaced. Nor can technology withstand the fury of solar storms, sandstorms, or heat waves. Every advance finds new vulnerabilities the desert can exploit. Between 2020 and 2024, the Australian outback continued to take lives with alarming regularity. 137 new disappearances were recorded during these 4 years, an average of 34 per year. The figure remained steady compared to past decades. 62% of those missing were foreign tourists, 23% were Australians, and 15% were temporary workers. Only 41% of cases were ever resolved. 59% remain unexplained, the lowest clearance rate of any category of incident in Australia. The most vulnerable group is men between the ages of 25 and 40, who make up nearly half of all disappearances. Seasonal analysis shows 2 peaks: a summer maximum from December to February, 38%, and a winter spike from June to August, 29%. New patterns are emerging. Many recent disappearances involve people with advanced devices, GPS trackers, satellite phones, emergency apps. 43% of the missing in the past 4 years carried such equipment. Group vanishings also rise. Families and friends traveling together, jumping from 8% in the 2000s to 18% in the early 2020s. Social media has changed the landscape. Some missing persons documented their entire journeys online, providing a trail of updates, until they suddenly went dark. Modern travelers tend to be better equipped but less skilled in survival than past generations. Vanishings are increasingly reported in areas once thought safe, even well mapped. In some cases, people disappeared despite carrying the most advanced monitoring systems available. Climate change adds pressure. Average Central Australian temperatures have risen by more than 2 degrees Celsius in 30 years, straining survival even further. Traditional water sources once relied upon have dried up. Sandstorms and heat waves grow more severe. Ecology shifts alter animal patterns, creating new hazards. Atmospheric changes may interfere with communication devices. Fading vegetation removes landmarks and shelters that once meant survival. The pattern continues. In March of 2021, the Johnson family from Canada vanished while traveling in the Northern Territory. Their vehicle carried satellite tracking and emergency alert systems, yet all signals cut out at the same moment. In August of 2022, Klaus Muller, a German tourist, disappeared while live streaming his journey over satellite internet. His final broadcast showed ordinary daytime activity, but there was no next transmission. Even in the digital age, the outback swallows people whole. Technology advances, the desert waits. In November of 2023, Australian geologist Dr. Sarah Thompson disappeared during a research expedition. She was a seasoned expert on the outback with over 20 years of experience and carried some of the most advanced safety equipment available. Just months later, in February of 2024, a group of Japanese student researchers vanished while documenting climate change. Their project was well-funded, equipped with backup communications, GPS monitoring, and multiple safety systems. In both cases, search operations used the latest technologies, yet found no trace and no explanation. These modern disappearances underscore an unsettling truth. Technology alone cannot guarantee safety in the desert. Search and rescue services continue to adapt. Swarms of drones and ground robots sweep wide zones simultaneously. Quantum sensors are introduced to detect underground anomalies with unmatched accuracy. Biometric monitoring devices track human vital signs in real time. Predictive analytics crunch vast data sets to anticipate high-risk areas. Virtual and augmented reality enhance training and operation planning. But results remain limited. Disappearances continue, defying the progress of science. This raises a deeper possibility. Perhaps it is not only people who adapt to the outback, but the outback itself, evolving in response to human intrusion. Speculative theories abound. The theory of technological dependence suggests modern travelers, reliant on electronics, become helpless once systems fail, stripped of survival skills. The hypothesis of electromagnetic anomalies proposes that hidden geophysical forces may disable all technology at once. The concept of adaptive environment suggests the desert itself conceals traces, reshaping as though resisting discovery. Others point to quantum effects in unique geological settings, or even the influence of the collective unconscious, fears and myths shaping real behavior beneath awareness. Though speculative, such theories show the growing awareness that traditional explanations might not be enough. The impact is profound. Tourism struggles under the outback's reputation. Millions are spent on campaigns to restore the image of safety. Local communities lose vital income. At the same time, dark tourism grows. Visitors drawn not despite but because of the mystery. Aboriginal communities raise concern about turning sacred lands into spectacles. Meanwhile, a subculture of amateur investigators tries to solve the riddles on their own. Literature, film, and art turn to the theme of outback disappearances as a symbol of human fragility before nature. International science has been drawn into the riddle. Joint studies bring together geology, psychology, anthropology, and physics. Conferences dedicated to disappearances in extreme environments are now held around the world. Rescue agencies from different nations exchange knowledge and technology. Global databases compile disappearances, revealing patterns at a planetary scale. And yet, ethical debates grow louder over how far surveillance and invasive tracking should go in the name of safety. Even as technology advances, new questions arise. After more than 40 years of systematic study, the mystery remains. Satellites, drones, artificial intelligence, all have transformed search operations. But the Australian outback continues to swallow people whole, erasing them without a sound. Perhaps the real mystery lies not in failed technology, but in the uncharted depths of the human encounter with one of Earth's last truly wild domains. The outback reminds us, for all our progress, we remain fragile before forces we do not yet fully understand. Searchers continue. Technologies evolve. Theories multiply. And still, the Red Desert keeps its silence. Each disappearance adds another page to one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the modern world. Somewhere beneath the endless skies and across the burning sands, the answers lie waiting. Thank you for watching.